evening, everybody, and welcome back to our lip sampling series. That's what I decided to call it, lip sampling series. So, from earlier on in one of our past videos, I started testing some samples from the cosmetic organization Honeybee Gardens. From their About Us page, they are known to be cruelty-free and vegan and well-nourishing for the lips. And as I have continued to explore how wellness and health have been implicated into cosmetics, I decided to test some additional samples from Honeybee Gardens. And after I finish this part of the series, I'm probably going to test a few other brands just to see not just which kind of shade fits my lips the best, but also how they feel. And it'll also be a nice learning experience for you, I hope. So let's pick up from where we left off. I have my handy dandy notebook from our last Honeybee Garden session. So last time we tested the first 6 samples from Honeybee Gardens, and I included greater than signs and less than signs to compare and contrast how I felt about each of them, both on my lips and on the page. So far, I would say Vintage Merlot is my favorite, followed by Queen Bee, then Paradise, then Trinity, and then Valentine. So, I know earlier on I preferred Trinity over Paradise, but the more I look at Paradise, the more I got a little more accustomed. So, anyway, let me introduce you to the next 6 lipstick samples from Honeybee Gardens we're going to look at today. We are going to look at Heirloom. So this is Heirloom, and it's like a dusty pink. Doesn't seem to have any sparkles, but we'll see what it looks like on the lips. We've got Sweet Pea. This one has a little bit more of a berry undertone. We've got Valentine. This one is a very pink substance. It kind of reminds me of the color of Pepto-Bismol. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but we'll see what it looks like. We've also got a few deeper colors, so we also are going to test today Romance. I know it's a little late for Valentine's Day, but we can all use a little romance in our lives, right? Our 5th one we're going to test out for today is called Cherokee. This one's more of a brown pink hue, so I'm quite interested in this one. I think this one so far matches the color of my top lip with a little blend from my bottom lip, so I'm very interested in this one. And then finally, we've also got a slightly red one with a little bit more of a salmon undertone, and this one is called Bermuda. And when I think back to Bermuda, that's actually the shade that I use for Juvia's Place with my, I think with my foundation, it's called Bermuda. So, let's see if the stars align. Just like with last time in Honeybee Gardens with the lip cosmetic sample series, I'm going to be using Q-tips, dipping them into some coconut oil just to get a little bit of a sheen for the lips. It's very moisturizing. And then test them on the lips, share my perception of them, and then record them onto the page. Earlier on, I used a maroon pen, but today I decided to use a purple pen. So, let me go ahead and get started. We are going to begin with the color Heirloom. So let me get my notebook out and I'm going to arrange it in a way where it becomes a little bit more of a grid. So I'm going to take this to the side here, and I'm going to write down heirloom underneath Valentine. Okay, so as a matter of fact, let's write all of them down just for consistency's sake. So we've got heirloom, we've got sweet pea. So I'll also write that down here. I'll write at the bottom here. We've got Valentine. So far 1, 2, 3. I'm going to have the other ones up here, 4, 5, and 6. So the next 3, romance. I remember the next one was Cherokee. And the last one was known as Bermuda. That's right, Bermuda. Alright, here's our little grid right here. So, alright, let's go ahead and get started with heirloom. So, just as usual, I'm going to take this sample bag. I'm going to open it really quickly, and I'm going to get my Q-tip, dip it into the coconut oil, and then push in, twist, and apply. Alright, got our coconut oil here. I'm going to dip it right into the color, push in, twist, 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 twist. There we go. Make sure I get enough of the color in there. That should be enough. Okay, let's see what heirloom looks like. So far, it almost looks like a dusky pink. So here's the bottom lip. And the top. And I'm applying it on one side of my mouth for now, so you can see the contrast between my natural lip color and the heirloom color. So heirloom seems to blend in with my natural lower lip. It does seem to have a little bit more of a berry undertone, so it's a similar color to my natural skin hue, but a little bit more berry. While as with the top lip, it completely transforms it. I do like the way this one looks. It's a nice dusky color, and it's not too loud, and it's not too vibrant, but it is subtle enough where it can enhance your natural beauty without completely making it unrecognizable. So let me just dip it in one more time so we can see what it completely looks like. So here's the right side. Yes, that is lovely. It reminds me a lot of the flowers on my shirt, especially this one right here, but it has a little bit more of a berry undertone. And actually, as I'm looking past the camera, there's this cute little piggy bank that it reminds me of in terms of the hue. It's very similar to it, and it seems to be a nice blend of the pink on my shirt and the pink from the piggy bank behind you right now. Yes, that is very nice. Now let's see what this color heirloom looks like on the notebook. I'm going to go ahead, take my notebook right here, and record our findings. So it's actually quite dark when you apply it to the page. It almost seems like a muddy pink, and it's quite ironic because it didn't look too dark on my skin, but when it was applied onto the paper, it's actually quite dark, and it gives it more of an edgy tone to it. So that's very intriguing to me. I love to see the way makeup looks depending on different mediums, whether it's on the skin or on paper or on something else. And that's why it's so important for us to see what makeup looks like and test out the samples, so then we can see what works out best for us. And then when we find something well in the short term, then we can select it with confidence and wear it in the long term. Alright, so let me go ahead and clean up my lips right quick. One thing I also like about this brand is that it doesn't take too much to take this off. There we go, just like that. Alright. So the next one, let's take a look at Sweet Pea. Now this one has a little bit more of a hot pink tone to it. It's a little bit more berry, and at the same time it has a little bit of a mixture of warm undertones to it. It feels like the same color as my lower lip, but a little bit more of a berry salmon, almost like a little mixture of the two. So I'm quite intrigued on what this one is going to look like. So I'm going to use the same Q-tip, just the other head. I'm going to open the bag, see what this looks like. Dip this into a little bit of coconut oil. Dip, 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 dip. And make sure leave a few remnants. I'm going to put it into the bag, go inside, and twist, 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 twist. Make sure you get the full color in there. And by the way, when it comes to making these kinds of samples and putting them onto yourself, you can use Q-tips. You can also use applicator brushes if it comes with that, or you can even use your fingers as long as they're clean. I just personally like to use Q-tips. So I'm going to apply this just to the left side, see what that looks like. And immediately you can see it's a lot more of a berry flavor, and it takes my natural tone of my lower lip and draws it a little bit more into a cooler undertone. So it's quite interesting because when I looked at the makeup by itself, it seemed to have more of a warm undertone, but when I applied it onto myself, it had a little bit more of a cooler undertone compared to my natural skin, which is very interesting. So let's see what this looks like on the left side of the top lip. It's probably going to transform a little bit. Just go over here. Nice. And what I like about this color is that it's not completely taking away the differences and the contrast of the tone of my upper lip and the tone of my lower lip. And at the same time, it gives a little subtlety of the color. This one seems even closer to my piggy bank too. Let's see what it looks like on both sides. I'm just going to spread here. It's a beautiful berry tone. It seems like most of these are either shades of pink or shades of dusky pink. Yeah, that is quite nice. I do think, I feel like it's a little bit too cool for my natural tone, it did look like it was more of a warm undertone within the bag, but when I applied it to myself, I think it might be a little bit more on the cooler side. It is a beautiful color on its own, though. I think it's very vibrant and it's very fun as well. It gives me more of a spring feeling to it. I wonder if that's a part of my perception of it, because based on color analysis, I learned that I may be more of a fall or autumn girly. But for my spring lovelies out there, if you are more of a spring, may want to consider this one. This one is Sweet Pea. But it's very lovely on its own. So let's see what this looks like on the page right quick. I'm going to get my notebook here. And it looks like it's right next to Queen Bee's. We might see two hot pinks next to each other. Okay, so it's not as vibrant of a pink compared to Queen Bee, but it does have a nice blend to it. I like that it's not as vibrant on the page, because that can be nice if you want something a little bit more subtle to it. But it is a very beautiful color on its own, and it does remind me of springtime. Let's see what our third one may look like. So the third one we're going to take a look at is called Valentine. I know it's a little late for Valentine's Day, but we can all use some self-love. Am I right? Alright, so let me go ahead and open this one. So Valentine, I think this was the one I mentioned earlier that reminded me of Pepto-Bismol. So we'll see what it actually looks like, though. I'll open this, get a new Q-tip. But testing all these is quite fun. It's a big piece of art, in my opinion, where you get to be your own canvas and you can use any kind of applicator as your paintbrush and just watch different kinds of colors and mediums come to life, whether on yourself, on a piece of paper, on your wrist, anywhere at all. I think these could be very fun to put together as some kind of painting or art piece. It does look very pretty on the Q-tip itself, so I'm very intrigued. Let's see on the left side. Oh my god, it looks so much like Pepto-Bismol to me. It almost looks purple. Huh. Immediately I feel like this one is way too icy cool, but this would look very nice for a fun evening, I would think. It does almost look purple on the top lip, so even though I don't think this would be the right shade for me, I'm still very intrigued by it. It's almost like a lavender tone. It's really fun. I like this one in the weirdest way, but I know I'm never going to wear something like this on a daily basis. It's very pretty though. And I think the other reason why this one is standing out to me, besides it looking like, reminding me of Pepto-Bismol in the bag, is that when I was a little girl, purple and lavender were my favorite colors. And I think I really like how it interacts with my natural tones, because at the bottom, it still has that slight Pepto-Bismol color, but at the top, it has more of a lavender tone to it. I do like how interactive this one looks, and it definitely is a good way to capture someone's attention, and it could be a nice conversation starter. And just like with all the other ones, it is very nice in terms of keeping the lips moisturized. But boy, is it off in terms of my undertones and cheek tones. And that's okay. That's the fun of trying out different makeup samples, am I right? Alright, let me go ahead and record this finding right here. So this one was called, let's see, I believe this one was Valentine. Yes. And yet, even though I thought it would look more pink, I feel like it matches this pen. Or maybe not. Now that I have the pen in front of me, now the pen looks blue while this looks purple. Color psychology is weird, y'all. Alright, so here is Valentine. Let's see what it looks like on the page. It might look more purple, it might look more pink, but let's see. Yeah, so it is a little bit of a mix of the two. It has a little mix of the lavender, a little bit more of a dusky pink. I feel like either Valentine or Trinity are the closest to a dusky pink based on my perception alone, at least. Let's see what we have next. So we've got 3 more. We've got Romance, we've got Cherokee, and we've got Bermuda. Just make sure the lips are completely clean. Okay, so let's go ahead and try out Romance. This one's like a deeper red, and I'm very curious to see what this is going to look like. Is it going to still look red on me? Or is it going to look a little bit more pink? Is it going to look a little bit more brown? Let's see. Go. I'm going to get the same Q-tip but use the opposite head. Dip it into some coconut oil just to keep the lips moisturized and add that nice fun extra sheen. I'm going to dip it into the bag just as we fancy scientists do. This kind of reminds me of ketchup and barbecue sauce. It's amazing where the mind goes. Alright, let's see what it looks like on the left side. It is a deeper red, and it has a slightly brown undertone to it. Now at the top, let's see how it interacts here. I do love how smoothly it moves. This one is lovely, actually. As a matter of fact, y'all remember the seduction sample I tried in the first video with Honeybee Gardens? When I was thinking of the seduction sample, this is kind of how I imagined it would look, but maybe with a little bit more of a maybe a little bit of a brighter tone, but not too bright. This one is pretty close to my perception, or at least my hypothesis of it. Let's see what it looks like on the rest. But it's a lovely shade of red. I'm actually really loving this one. It's gorgeous. And I do like red. I also like things in a slightly deeper tone to it. And I do like how this one is being worn. I think if I had a lip liner on the outside, I think that would make me like it even more. But it is very beautiful on its own. It brings out some more of the red from the top. It brings out a little bit more of my natural blush tone, and it does draw some attention to other things that are red, such as my class ring and anything else. But it does look nice with some black accents or anything similar to that, or even with brown accents, I would say. But I think it's very sophisticated. I think this would be nice to wear on an evening out, and I could definitely imagine a nice fresh bouquet of roses alongside this shade. Yes, that is very nice. Very timeless, in my opinion. Let me go ahead and record this and see what romance, ironically enough, looks like on the paper. So, row 1, Paradise, Trinity, Valentine, and Romance. It has a similar look to Heirloom. It has a slightly darker structure, but you do see it keeps a little bit of that retention of the red with a slight shade of brown. So it could go nice with black. It could also go even better with the darker chocolatey brown. That's very pretty. Let's see, we've got 2 more, so let me go ahead and wipe this off here. And if anyone has any favorites thus far in this series, feel free to put in the comments down below. So now let's take a look at Cherokee. This one has a little bit more of a brown undertone to it. And I'm quite curious to see what it would look like if it has any interaction with my upper and lower lip and also with my eyes. I have a feeling it might change our perception of our appearance a little bit. Let me go ahead and get a new Q-tip so we can test this one out. So turning this bag around, get the Q-tip, dip, 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 and insert into the specimen. Not really a specimen, we're the specimen, but y'all know what I mean. And twist, twist, twist. This one seems to have a lot more of a density to it compared to most of the other samples. Interesting. Let's see what it looks like on the left side. Doesn't seem to have too much of a change. It does look a little bit more glossy. But so far, it looks similar to my natural lip tone. Let's see what it looks like on the top. This one actually reminds me of my Wet n Wild lipstick. Actually, there is a slight pink undertone to it. It's just very, very subtle. Interesting. This one seems to have a little bit more of a sheen. Let's see what it looks like on the entire lip structure. It's nice. I'm not sure I'm feeling it too much. I think if it was a little bit more brown, I would like it more. And I think because it's like a mixture of brown and pink and has a little bit of ambiguity in it, I think that's why I'm feeling slightly hesitant. But it's still a very interesting structure, and I do think the hue is quite unique and interesting. I think this would be a nice fall tone, Though ironically, I'm not sure if this one is my favorite. It does have a nice chocolatey undertone to it though. I like that. Yeah. It's still very cute though. Let's see what this looks like on the paper. I'm quite intrigued to see if there are any differences for Cherokee. Well, I think it looks much better on the paper than it does on me, and that's good enough for me. And it even has a little bit of a sparkly structure, which adds a little bit more of a dazzle and a little bit more magic. Well, even though this one was not my favorite on myself, it does look really good on paper. Okay, well, we've got one more here. And this one is giving me good memories. Bermuda. It's got a nice salmon pink tone, and it gives me a little bit more of a summery feel. That's what takes me back. I'll use the same Q-tip, use the opposite head, and take it from there. So dip, twist, 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 and twist. There we go. Left side. This one looks very subtle too. It's almost the same color as my lower lip, but a little more berry to it. For a second, I wonder if it was the same color as my tongue. Not really, actually. This one actually reminds me of summer popsicles for some reason. This one is kind of nice. Okay, so that one looks pretty good. Got a little bit on the teeth. Let me just add this to the other side here. See what this looks like. That one is very lovely. I think, it does look very nice. It's a nice shimmery feel. It's not too loud on my natural tones, and it does allow my natural skin on my lips to shine through without being too overpowered. And it does have a little bit of that salmon subtle feel, which brings out the tone of my blush on my cheeks and even on my hands too. I think this is one of the more natural feeling types of shades that I've tried. So let me go ahead and add Bermuda to our page. Definitely looks a little bit more subtle at the end there, but it's quite a beautiful display, isn't it? Alright, well, I'll take a look at these a little bit later and see if I can add the greater than and less than signs. But thank you all so much for tuning in on our lipstick sampling series, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great evening.